Happening, everybody? It's your boy Sports PSP in the building. Hope you all enjoying the rest of your evening. Want to talk about some NFL news regarding the Los Angeles Chargers. As we all know, the Los Angeles Chargers blew a 27-point lead Saturday night against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the wild card. There was a lot of speculation. People thought after that game, the Los Angeles Chargers head coach Brandon Staley would be gone, fired. But unfortunately, that's not the case for Chargers fans. However, they did fire offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi as well as quarterbacks coach Shane Day. Now, Brandon Staley, the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, I'm just reading an article from ESPN by Lindsey Theory. Brandon Staley was asked Wednesday, during Wednesday's season-ending news conference, if he felt his job was in danger. Staley responded bluntly, quote, "No." This is what Brandon Staley had to say. "I have a lot of confidence in how we do things here and what we've been able to accomplish, and that's the truth. Everybody that's been around me on a day-to-day basis knows that. I am aware of the speculation, but I was not worried about that because I know what goes on here on a day-to-day basis. I know what we have in our locker room. I know what's out on that field, and I'm excited to keep going." Now, for context about Brandon Staley's 2 years with the Los Angeles Chargers as the head coach, he is 19-15 as a starter. This season in 2022, the Chargers at 10-7 made the playoffs. First time they've been to the playoffs since 2018. In 2020, while he was defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams had the number one defense in the NFL. They were number one in team defense, and they were number one in passing defense, as well as third in rushing defense. And he was the defensive coordinator at the time when they had Aaron Donald winning his third Defensive Player of the Year. That's why Brandon Staley was ultimately the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, replacing Anthony Lynn. Look, the Chargers, it is kind of shocking. I'm actually kind of shocked that Brandon Staley is still going to keep their job. They're going to fire the offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi, and quarterbacks coach Shane Day, but Brandon Staley keeps his job. Now, I thought, like a lot of people thought, the Chargers, they were going to fire Brandon Staley and possibly try to get their hands on Sean Payton, of course. After all, Sean Payton works at Fox Sports. He's been on The Herd with Colin Cowherd. I actually thought they were going to get their hands on Sean Payton. And if you know anything about the Spanos family, they're known for being cheap. And I think if you're going to give Sean Payton a head coaching job, you're going to have to give him two things. Number one, a ton of money and a ton of authority. And I think if you look at the Spanos family, given their history of being cheap, I wouldn't go as far as saying they're Mike Brown cheap. Mike Brown, the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals. I wouldn't go that far. Nevertheless, they are cheap. And due to that, I don't think they wanted to give Sean Payton the money or the authority. But that's not the only problem I have with the Los Angeles Chargers. It's Justin Herbert. I like Justin Herbert. I think he's a very talented quarterback. I think he has all the requisite tools of a franchise caliber quarterback. He's 6'6". He's 240 pounds. He has a strong arm. He's athletic. He can make all the requisite throws out there on the football field. But I said this when I was on a podcast last night, the Sports For You podcast, and shout out to the crew, shout out to the guys, John, Nick, and Mark. Personally, it was an honor and privilege to be on the show, and thank you. But I said this, and I will state it again. Justin Herbert is overrated. He is overrated because we talk about him like he's the best quarterback in the NFL. Like he belongs in the same conversation with Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen. From a talent standpoint, yes. I can understand from a talent standpoint, he belongs in that conversation because he can make all the types of throws those quarterbacks can make. However, the difference between those guys and Justin Herbert, they have consistently gotten to the playoffs. They can make, when it comes to clutch, big time situations, in big moment situations, they can deliver the goods. They can handle the circumstances. And it's been 3 years with Justin Herbert with the Los Angeles Chargers. And too many times in his career, he's come up short. And that's probably one of the reasons why he wasn't the number 1 overall pick in the 2020 draft. Because physically, he has all the requisite tools. But I saw him during his time in Oregon, and I thought too many times in Oregon, particularly in 2019, when Oregon faced the Auburn Tigers, led by a true freshman quarterback in Bo Nix. Justin Herbert, it seemed like Oregon had a chance to win that game. And they lost, believe it or not, because Bo Nix, no matter what, got the job done. We've seen teams going up against Justin Herbert. We've seen quarterbacks going up against Justin Herbert, whether Mahomes or whoever, and they just find ways to get the job done. Talent-wise, Justin Herbert belongs in the conversation. Talent-wise, and as far as the numbers, but in terms of getting to the playoffs, winning big games in big moments, no, Justin Herbert does not belong in that conversation, and that is why I call him overrated. At this point, even though you may think that's too harsh for me to say, he is overrated. And I also said on the podcast last night, he is the new younger version. He is the new Matt Ryan. He is the new Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, even though he was never the talent that Justin Herbert is, Matt Ryan was a very productive quarterback. Matt Ryan would have multiple or several seasons of over 4,000 yards. Matt Ryan, you can make a case he's in the Hall of Fame. But the more that you look at his career and legacy, the more you think of the choke jobs, the more you think of the Super Bowl, the 28-3 choke job against New England. You think of the Minnesota game in his first year with the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts blew a 33-point lead, the largest choke job in NFL history. You think of all the other choke jobs in Matt Ryan's career in Atlanta. And I look at Justin Herbert, even though he's been in the NFL for 3 years, I see him as Matt Ryan. Too many times he's come up short. In big games and big moments, he's come up short. And yes, if you want to use an NBA analogy, he's James Harden. He's the white James Harden. He, like Harden can put up numbers in the regular season. Harden can do a lot of great things in the regular season. But too many times in big games and big moments, whether playoffs or whatever the case may be, he comes up short. And that is Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert, in my opinion, is a top 10 quarterback, and that's it. He does not belong in the conversation with Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. Talent-wise, yes. In terms of fantasy football numbers, yes. But in terms of wins, big playoff games, big moments, pivotal circumstances, no, he does not belong in that conversation. So miss me out on that. You can talk about the injuries with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. You could talk about the defense. I saw Trevor Lawrence against the Chargers. In the first half, he was horrible. He threw 4 interceptions in that game. But in the second half, he turned it around and he threw 3 touchdowns. And I'm not the biggest Trevor Lawrence fan in the world. Okay, I thought coming out of the draft, he was a little overhyped. I thought people were a little bit crazy saying he's the next Andrew Luck. But I saw him come back from 27 points against you, Justin Herbert, on your own watch. And you folded. And I don't want to hear any excuses. Yes, we could talk about injuries. Yes, we could talk about Brandon Staley. But if you're that guy, Justin Herbert, if you're that guy, you got to deliver the goods. No excuses, none whatsoever. You're not getting anything from me. So that's all I'm going to say regarding Justin Herbert. I think the Chargers are making a huge mistake keeping Brandon Staley, but meanwhile you fired the offensive coordinator and the quarterback's coach. But that goes to show you the Spanos family and maybe how they run things and why and who they are, given how cheap they are. So that's all I got to say regarding the whole situation. Sorry I made a long story short. But anyway, let me know in the comment section, guys. Do you think the Chargers are making a mistake keeping Brandon Staley? Do you think they're also making a mistake not getting their hands on Sean Payton? Do you also think Justin Herbert is overrated? Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below. It's your boy Sports PSP. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening, and God bless.